What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Going the Distance MMA. Today we've got betting and predictions for OKTAGON 84, Paradeiser versus Brito. This is a no UFC week, no LFA, no you name it, nothing. So we got OKTAGON only, so let's make the best of it here. I'd say this card is nothing to write home about, but it's enough to stay entertained, and given a weekend of nothing, we will take it. Would you say you agree, CJ?
Yeah, no, definitely. Obviously, not the most ideal circumstances. I'm away for work, so I'm recording from a hotel. So if it sounds the quality's not as good, I apologize. But yeah, I mean, some MMA in the morning never hurt anybody on a Saturday. So looking forward to it.
Amen to that. To open up the card at 170, we have Adam Havren at 1-0 versus Oscar Staczak at 4-0. For this fight, Adam Havren coming in at plus 250, Staczak minus 350. Havren, just gotta say, wild picture, absolutely covered in tattoos. He has face tats. Like, if you take a good gander there, this guy has face tattoos. Kind of wild. He is 1-0. That win is a decision over a guy who's 0-3, so definitely not super impressive. This is his octagon debut. In amateur MMA, he was 1-1 with a split decision loss to Patrick Sebek, who we broke down recently. Had a good underdog call on him on the prelims of a recent octagon card. He does have some amateur and pro boxing and kickboxing experience. In his one fight against that 0-3 guy, whose last name is Owen, I forget his first name, he had some takedowns in that fight, but he was easily reversed. He wasn't showing impressive ground control against a guy who was 0-3, which I didn't love. He did throw up some subs on bottom, which kind of surprised me given that boxing, kickboxing background. But given that dangerous ground game, no real urgency to get up. On the feet, he stays behind a solid jab. He has some okay leg kicks. In that fight, Ullman had literally nothing left in rounds 2 and 3, nothing, and he couldn't finish Ullman. It really didn't prove much. Ullman reversed him in round 3, this exhausted guy who's 0-3, so not a great look. Oscar Staczak, minus 350, as said, he's 4-0. A little less amateur experience. He did go 1-0. This is his octagon debut as well. This guy's a finisher. Most of those finishes by knockout. Undefeated in MMA. He does have 2 kickboxing losses, one by knockout, one by decision. His best opponent is 3-4, which is not great, but better than can be said about Adam Havren. Not much tape available here. All the game changer MMA cards, which is a previous promotion he was on, it's one long video with no timestamps. I wasn't about to look through a 5-hour video without last names displayed on the fights to somehow find this guy, pick out the announcement. So not much tape here. Gun to my head, who wins? I would say Oscar Staczak. More experience, more finishing potential. I mean, obviously you gotta like that. Definitely, I didn't have the ability to look into this one enough to bet on it, but Oscar Staczak would be the side. I just don't want to bet a 1-0 guy versus a 4-0 guy when I couldn't tape either of them. The prediction, even though this is kind of just a shot in the dark, would be Oscar Staczak round 2 knockout, but no bet happening here. What do you think?
Yeah, no. So I think keep it quick and brief, no tape, like you said. But I think Oscar probably just gets on top of him at some point, whether he gets a takedown, hurts him, or just trips on top. And Adam looks horrendous grappling, so I just think he kind of gets smashed. And yeah, it's why would you ever play a minus 350 here? I think you just violence, you fun watch, right? 2 low level guys, but yeah, I wouldn't play anything here. But I'm agree with you.
Seems like we are on the same page there. Next fight we have at catchweight at 151. This is a short notice step up for Daniel Shorji. Lucas Zadasak was set to fight Jack McGuire, who was 4-1 and a favorite here, but McGuire withdrew. Zadasak is 6-6. This is his octagon debut. He did fight in an octagon previously, but that's a different octagon. That is OC octagon, not OK. He is a finisher. He has lost all 3 ways, mostly by knockout. He's won 1 of last 3. Before that, 3-fight skid there. He had a 4-fight finish streak before that. In his last 7 fights, he hasn't been the distance, which is notable here. I watched his fight against Thomas Cabbage, where he won by submission, even though it says KO on Tapology. Not sure what that's about. Great slam takedown there. Solid ground and pound. Really aggressive style. He took the back and got the choke super fast. That was against a 1-0 opponent, but it's still a good look. I mean, it's not his fault he's given a can in that fight, I guess. Daniel Shorji is a short notice step up for Jack McGuire. These odds have not yet been released. He is 9-1. This is his octagon debut. Won all 3 ways, mostly by KO. That 1 loss is by decision, which I love. He's never been finished. He is a large featherweight. He's 6-1. This is a catchweight, but normally featherweight fighting at 6-1, so he's a big guy. He has fought opponents with better records and more experience than Lucas Zavisak here. He is currently riding a two-fight finish streak, which I like. In the stand-up, he has non-stop pressure, like just really slow, steady plodding towards you, does not stop. He has solid hands, good clinch work, really dangerous knees there. The Daniel Matusik fight I caught luckily on tape, and there was a ref stoppage after some just nasty clinch work. That was the only recent fight I could find. I would say for this fight, I definitely like Daniel Shorji here. In terms of opponents and records, this is a big step up for Zavisak. But a 6-6 guy for Shorji is really nothing that we fought better than that. Daniel Shorji did take this on short notice, so when those odds come out, I'm hoping they're a little more skewed towards Zavisak than you would expect normally given these records. So we'll just have to wait and see for that. I think Daniel's pressure on the feet will just be too much. I think we'll just kind of like wear down Zavisak. He won't be able to handle that for round after round. I do expect Shorji to walk him down and overpower him as those rounds go on. My prediction here: round 3 knockout for Daniel Shorji. The betting angle, odds dependent. I can't give you guys a number here, but if it's not despicable odds, and if he's a small underdog, a small favorite, I don't mind Shorji at all here. What do you think?
Yeah, I wish a small underdog would feed families, but yeah, he's probably fine here. I think he's a little bit better everywhere. He lost to that guy Felipe Oliveira, I believe his name was, and he lost a split in a close fight. And that dude had fought some good guys in LFA. He actually has a win in LFA, and I love LFA guys. Usually, it's pretty good talent, even if they don't have the best record. So yeah, I'm with you. I think Daniel kills him.
So you'd expect him hoping to get that number that's like sort of fair just because he's short notice, but we'll see. We'll see if we can get him under maybe minus 200. That would definitely be good news for us. Next fight, 170. Though these guys normally fight at a larger weight, if I'm not mistaken. This is Peter Bartonek versus Endrit Brashori. Peter Bartonek at plus 200, Brashori minus 275. Bartonek, he's 8-6. 0-2 in Octagon, though that was a long time ago. One fight in 2020, one in 2022. Currently riding a 4-fight finish streak. He's a finisher. He does get finished in his losses, but he's certainly dangerous. In the fights I could see, one of the fights I saw against Federico Comuena, really great trip in round 1, nasty ground and pound. He's a pretty big dude, jumped on a rear naked choke fast. All of his subs that are recorded method-wise on Tapology are all by rear naked choke. The other one just says choke, but you'd have to assume that's rear naked as well. I couldn't get my hands on many other fights other than his last, which was just that really fast sub, so I didn't really get to see much on the feet from him. From what I saw temporarily, he took one leg kick, fired a couple back, and he kind of liked the brawl. He smiled when he got leg kicked. I liked the moment I saw, but couldn't see much there. Endrit Brashori, he is 5-2. 3-2 in Octagon, so he's been in Octagon for much of his career. He has won one of his last 2, 3 of his last 5, so he does lose now and again periodically. Wins all 3 ways, mostly by KO. Both of his losses are by submission, which is pretty notable. He has fought some more experienced comp heading into this fight. Guy's 18-5. He won against, and then I believe he lost against Merrick Bartle, who's a guy who I rate pretty highly, 12-13. We have broken down his fights before. Definitely a dangerous guy. He was dropped in the clinch and subbed bad by Merrick Bartle, which again, I rate, so it's kind of a fair loss in my book in the Octagon scene. He's clearly vulnerable in the takedown defense and control. You saw in the Tayo Adunjo fight where he eventually did win by decision because he beat up Tayo on the feet, but early in that fight you could see when they're dry, he's definitely weak to the takedowns, and then once down there, he's clearly a fish out of water with two submission losses. Definitely powerful and an opportunistic striker on the feet. Great ground and pound, and on the feet is definitely where he wants to stay. With this fight, with these odds, plus 200 on Bartonek, I think I would take my chances on Bartonek here. I also like the under, but I think Brashori should certainly have an edge on the feet. You can't confirm that because I haven't seen Bartonek striking on tape, so you can't confirm that, but you just think, especially given the odds here, that Brashori should be fine on the feet, and a KO, I would say, is probably not unlikely. I wasn't able to see Bartonek striking on tape as mentioned, but you'd think so. Bartonek has shown good abilities to get the fight to the ground with that nasty trip on Comuena, which you'd think would be huge here if he can get the fight to the ground. Huge. Once on top, dangerous ground and pound, choke threat. Endrit's susceptible there. With the unknown and known variables that I have here, haven't seen Bartonek striking, so can't say it's bad. Have seen Brashori's grappling and takedown defense, can say it's bad. So with those variables, I'll take the underdog here. So under, if you can get it on whatever demonic book you're betting on, take it. But also Bartonek's underdog price plus 200 might have to count me in. What do you think?
Yeah, no, so I think you summed it up perfectly. I think I'm gonna have to agree with you. I just think like the line's pretty crazy for someone that literally can't grapple. Um, and not for nothing, his first sub loss by like rear naked choke, Dan Neck, I think his last name was. Do you see that guy's Tapology picture? Tell me that guy can pass a drug test. There's no world where he does. That dude is juiced to the gills, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, yeah, like clear hole in his game grappling. Like he looks like a complete fish. Like Bartle's good, like you were saying, like he has a salty record, but a good fighter, good grappler. But yeah, it's just like you would never want to play guys that have this massive hole in their game in the grappling, especially when the other guy has shown that he can grapple a little bit. And again, like you said, it's still unknown. You don't know if he's completely screwed striking. So for that reason, I'll take Bartonek also. So I agree with you.
A
Or the
little bit
under
of stat, but
violence, man.
a little bit of stat, but that's what it's about. Definitely violence, definitely like the under. Next fight at 185. This is the second to last prelim. This is Vasek Kilmsa at minus 310, who I've also seen called Vaclav Kilmsa. So Vasek and Vaclav, two first names he goes by. I am not from whatever country that is, so I wouldn't know how that works, but supposedly
Czech
that's how it works.
Republic.
There you go, Czech Republic. Brajan Pirsewek, we're gonna call him Brajan here, plus 225 on the other side. He is 4-1. For Kilmsa, 2-0 as mentioned, 1-0 in Octagon. He is a finisher. 3-0 amateur. He won by sub and decision there. So in all of his fights, 5-0 total. Hasn't fought any good competition up to this point, like at all. So this will be his first step up. The minus 310 number confuses me. I think I must be missing something. I wasn't able to watch much real tape on this guy, so it's certainly possible I am. I did get to see a clip of the finish in his last fight, and let me say, some of the worst reffing I have ever seen in my life. I don't know if you saw this fight, but it was against, I forget the guy's name, but it was a Von Flue choke where the guy was on the ground with his eyes like this, like so gone. And the ref just didn't see, and it was like probably 20 seconds of just the choke being held, and the ref didn't even stop it. Vasek got off of him because he felt a dead body under
Yeah.
him, and he actually lifted his leg. So like, props to Vasek, like sportsmanship, because the ref was nowhere to be seen there. Disgusting video, have to say. On the other side, Brajan 4-1. This is his Octagon debut. Lost his last fight by decision. Always a little nerve wracking betting a fighter coming off his first loss, but not to give it away, but I am leading Brajan here. Lots of amateur experience. Maybe not as pretty of a record as 3-0, but he was 8-4, so lots of experience. Won all three ways. Never KO'd amateur, but lost by sub and decision. The decision loss on the pro scene, so on the pro scene never finished like that as well. Only had access to amateur tape here. The main fight I watched was against Victor Kovac. Good takedowns and control there. This guy looks really strong, just built like an ox. Um, doesn't have a ton of activity when he's on top, which I don't like because he goes for those takedowns and control a lot. He appears confident on the feet, and also with the footage I saw, this is amateur tape from years ago. You have to think that that is a foundation that has been built off of since then. So a guy who maybe didn't look like he had the most finishing potential then, you'd have to think he's definitely a step up now. So this to me is a fight where I think a fairly uneducated underdog stab is appropriate. There's a lot of underdogs for me on this card to give that away now. Both these guys have a lot of unknowns. For Klimsa, all I saw was that one disgusting sub against a low level comp. And for Brajan, I see a fighter with more experience in amateur and professional, who's fought better competition, who has shown a solid foundation on the amateur scene. And with the growth I'm expecting, certainly enough to bet him against a guy who might be a freak. Very possible at minus 310, but I just wasn't able to see it on my tape just because it wasn't available to me. So maybe small because of the lack of education. If you're gonna bet it, I probably won't put anything on it myself, but I would lean Rajan here.
Yeah, no, I think again you broke that down perfectly. Like, what has Kills done to like warrant this minus in the threes price tag? Like, he's only 2-0. He doesn't have the amateur record of Brajan either. And like you said, Brajan's like all these Polish guys can grapple. They're all really good durability. Usually have good cardio. They'll give anyone a problem. Like, if obviously he has a ton of really early finishes, but I'm glad you brought up his amateur career, where he's won by like triangle choke, rear naked choke. He's won split decisions. Like he can go deeper into fights. Even though as a pro, he's been getting a ton of finishes. And I don't know, man. Like Von Flue chokes in the big 2026. Like not the highest level. I know like OSP was the man, and he used to hit those all the time, and they're cool. Like they're cool chokes as a jiu-jitsu guy. But I don't know. You don't see them super often like in recent MMA. So yeah, I think Rejan's like a good dog shot just because the unknowns both sides, but you do actually see his game way more with the amateur tape. And again, that's years ago. Like some of the amateur fights are back in like 2020, 2019. So like you just assume he's only getting better. So yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you. That number's ridiculous.
Nice. This is an underdog heavy card, and that really for me doesn't change much in the main card. There are a lot of favorites I like, but at least one there, not to give anything away. For the final prelim headliner, this one is going to be a little yucky. This is Jan Saraki against František Fodor. Sarosky is at plus 175, Fodor minus 230. Sarosky 13 and 19, Fodor 10 and 9. So this is like an octagon classic for us. For Sarosky, as mentioned, 13 and 19, 4 and 7 in octagon. Currently riding a four-fight losing streak, losing 6 of his last 7. Won all 3 ways, mostly by knockout. Lost all 3 ways, mostly by knockout. In his last few fights, he has been bumped back down to PML, which is like regional competition in the octagon European area, but much lower level than that. And he's losing to comp on that promotion. A guy who's 1 and 2, a guy who's 2 and 2, in like his last couple fights. So horrible look. Will say, I mean, if you look at the guy's frame, it's clear. If you look at the guy's picture on Tapology, it's clear. Definitely has power. In the fight I watched against Katakoli, which I believe was 3 fights ago, maybe 4, he showed some weakness to takedowns. He defended some of them, but was definitely taken down a few times. Definitely controlled on the ground. He has some takedowns of his own, but they all seem to come from power really more than technique. Definitely strong in the clinch. Good submission defense. This is a guy whose neck is like this. So like he's like Torres Finney neck. Not that bad, but like that idea. Just less severe. So he's hard to choke. Defended crazy choke attempts round 1 and round 3 against Katakoli. Had some reversals in that fight. I would call Sarosky, if you ask me to like classify him, I'd say he's a generalist with good power. He's seen a lot. He's fought all over. He has a win over the great Merrick Bartle, who, as we know, I like, notable. František Fodor minus 230, 10 and 9, 6 and 5 in octagon, so a slightly better record there. KO'd in his last 2, lost 4 of his last 5. So guys lost 6 of 7 versus guys lost 4 of 5. Once again, won all 3 ways, mostly by knockout. Lost all 3 ways, mostly by knockout. His last 8 fights have ended by KO in one way or another. He either gets KO'd, he KO's got like wild. There were only 2 fights from one of them a while ago that I was able to see. In a fight against Jaroslav Poborsky, who was 26 and 43. He shot a sloppy takedown and got subbed in a half a minute. Fodor, I mean, not the guy who's 26 and 43. The guy who's 26 and 43 subbed him. In a fight that was much more recent, he went life and death and got knocked out by a fairly unimpressive 5 and 4 fighter, Adrian Kepa. No hate to Kepa, I didn't see much that fight. He didn't have to show much. He destroyed Fodor, but it just wasn't good luck. This is not a fight I would bet your hard-earned schmeckles on a side here. I just would not. Neither guy's trustworthy at all. Both guys lose hella. Like I said, 6 of 7, 4 of 5. Yikes. From the tape I saw, I think there's a little more to like from Sarosky, especially at an underdog number. But then again, don't let me talk you into it. Don't lose your money. He just lost to guys 1 and 2 and 2 and 2. Please don't do it. Like I said, pick here Sarosky, but don't advise. If possible, in some degenerate book, the fight to end in knockout. As I mentioned, they both win and lose mostly by knockout. If that doesn't exist, the under pretty much covers that. But I wouldn't take a side here. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to agree. Like Fodor at minus 2-4 in the twos is absolutely disgusting. Like I know he's got a slightly better a positive record actually. But, like I don't think he's very good. Like you said, he's been KO'd a ton. Like the Kepa KO was ugly. Like that's not a great loss, especially getting smoked like that. What was that in the first round? I think too.
Mm-hmm.
They've all been
I think it
really
was early second actually, but
early
yes.
second, yeah. But they've all been like sub 7.5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of his KO losses, like the Damian Lapilus, like he got. I know it was like to the body, a kick to the body, but he just doesn't look very durable. Like he doesn't wear damage well. And Lapilus isn't really a punch, like a huge puncher, huge power, and he folded him in like a minute. But Jan, on the other hand, man, I think like I think the line's just off. Like why he's like you were explaining, like he's a generalist, but like I think a generalist gives Fodor all types of problems because of the holes in his game. You know what I mean? Like his durability is an issue, which Jan, you said Jan has like decent. We said decent power. Um, Jans will offensively grapple. Like I know he's been subbed and caught in submissions, but like is Fodor gonna grab like a Darce or a guillotine? Like no. And what's funny about Jan is he got submitted, or no, he lost a decision, I believe. Let me just triple check this. Not that it really matters because he has 19 losses. Yeah, he lost a decision to that dude Dennis Frimpong. If you remember him, remember he like talked mad trash to Patty Pimblett, then got choked unconscious in the gym on video, which is mad embarrassing. But yeah, who's two and I think he's like 4-3 now. Like didn't end up panning out. So yeah, I think like Jan is like a random dog shot. Like I don't hate it. It's low level. The line doesn't really make this is like a pick'ems fight. Like let's be honest, like coin flip. They fight 10 times. Five, they probably split half or maybe 60-40. But yeah, like this line's crazy. So yeah, I agree with you.
And with that, we make our way to the main card. The
Yep.
first fight here we have is at catchweight 161. This is Matej Kuznik versus Hafeni Nafuka. Nafuka 11-4. Kuznik 19-9. What do you got here?
Yeah, so I guess we'll start on the Kuznek side. I think he needs takedowns here. Like I think his game is all around getting takedowns, like cage pushing, and stuff. Like in a ton of his fights, you see him mixing in the takedowns. And if he doesn't do that, those are usually where all of his losses are. Like I look at the David Moon fight, who I don't think's great. Like he was like 8-4 at the time, knocked him out in the first round, because he couldn't really get his grappling going. He also like fun fact lost to Ludovic Klein way back in the day, which no shame in that. Obviously, that dude's murderous. And a good fighter. He lost by cut stoppage. And yeah, I just think he's very physically strong, but like his fundamentals in the clinch, because he doesn't shoot much. Like a lot of his takedowns aren't double legs and single legs, like your typical wrestler. A lot of it's out of the clinch, like trips and body locks. But he like just muscles everything, which obviously is gonna be a problem against Fuka, who's much younger, seems to have the durability edge. Actually has a wrestling game of his own, which I think he can get. I don't think what's his name? Kuznek is like a crazy defensive wrestler. He has holes of his own. Nafuka's striking also isn't horrible. I think he's fought the better level of competition. And yeah, I just think like all of those things like younger, seems to have better cardio, maybe not necessarily physically strong, but knows how to grapple. Like he's 7 of his wins are by submission. Those all historically give like sloppy wrestlers or people who are gonna just shoot on you constantly, all sorts of problems. Like he lost, Infuka lost to that dude George Stanis, I think his name is, who's 8-0. Pretty solid guy. Like that dude's good. Like I don't know if he has an Octagon title, but he'll be fighting for one soon. Like that guy's solid. And yeah, he's lost to like solid enough guys. He has a bunch of submission wins. And there was one more thing I wanted to bring up. I just the problem why I wouldn't be like this is a max here because his striking isn't great. Like it's very one and done. Like strike just enough to get into takedowns. So like I don't know. I just think he takes him down like whenever he wants to, and it's not like Kuznik has like a power that's just gonna bonk him. So yeah, I think Nafuka's fine. I know I just rambled a lot there, but I think he's fine at that number. I think he wins. So what about you?
I like Nafuka. I think he wins. He's on the edge of parlay worthy for me because the
Yeah.
main thing here is I don't like either guy on the feet a lot. Like, really, I think they have like a similar game. I just think Nafuka's better at it. Kuznik wants the takedown, but once he's down there, I don't love how he looks down there. I don't think he presents that much danger. Nafuka, on the other hand, has a huge grappling threat at all positions. And I think he's, as you mentioned, younger, faster, probably better cardio, more physicality. I also think he's enforced that takedown submission game against better opponents than Kuznik. Success against better guys. Like I said, like if this somehow gets stuck on the feet, it gets like really weird, like really weird. It might even be uncomfortable to watch, like, and that worries me at minus 350. So it's like a very hesitant parlay ad. Like unless you're really devious and you need something huge, like I might even advise against it here. But I think Nafuka is definitely the play here. The next fight we have is at featherweight. This is Jakub Botfalski versus Eugene Blackdell. Botfalski, big favorite at minus 550. Blackdell, moderate underdog here. What do you think?
Yeah, so I think Falsely's fine. Like, I mean, if you did you see the size difference? Like watching tape on that, like Dell is so undersized, especially here. I mean, Jakob is massive. I think he's like 6 foot at featherweight, right? So he's like massive for the division. Good. Like he's like your typical banger, like not great striking defense, but pretty durable. I've seen him eat some bombs, and one of his recent loss to in his last Jorny Pollicott, something like that. I don't remember the name off the top of my head. He was getting beat up in rounds 1 and 2, and then he still was coming on like in three. Obviously he lost. He was just down too much. Couldn't really get much going early. But yeah, he ate the shots well. He's only 23, so these guys get better fight to fight. And yeah, like I think his durability carries him here. Like I said about Dell, super undersized, but has like solid enough boxing. His hands are pretty good. And the fight that I look at is the Ryasav, I think his name is Ryasavi. I'm butchering that name.
Savi.
What's that? Yeah, yeah, yeah. That dude is huge also, and he had a really hard time getting inside. So I just think it's like a mirror matchup to that. And like I said, Jakob is making improvements. He's only 23, so I think he's fine here just on size and durability alone. What about you?
Took the words out of my mouth. First off, Botfalski, huge, as you mentioned. And what I would have really liked to see here is bear with me, right? You take these two guys and you take these two guys. Imagine they're, not a catchweight because not short notice, and you flip flop them. You put Shorji up here against Botfalski, and you put Eugene Blackdell down here against Zavasak. Octagon, hire me. Anyway, I think that matchup that way will be super interesting. Anyway, back to the real fight. Like Botfalski, don't love the number. As I mentioned with Brajan Puchsewek or Prizsewek in an earlier fight, in an underdog call I liked. This is another guy who's coming off his first ever loss, where, as you mentioned, he got beat up pretty rough in rounds 1 and 2. I do think that he sort of appears hittable. Like, he loves a brawl, and he's sort of willing to, like, get hit to land some shots of his own. It's kind of like his game. Tall guy, like, chin can get up a little bit, which can get a little, worrying. I think that style will be fine here. But the question is like whether he employs that game after that loss. Like I could see some hesitation after that loss, maybe like a switch up, like, oh, let's kind of change our game plan here, which I don't think is the play because he's good. He just had a rough fight. So Blackdale on the other hand, good power, but as you mentioned, you took it right out of my mouth. Rai Savi with that tall fighter, he had trouble like touching him. So I think that's going to be even more of an issue here. So I think Bafalski, he's a good cardio, he's young, huge. He really builds into the fight well, as you mentioned. So I like Botfalski, but I mean the number's crazy. But late KO I think is what most likely will happen. The number's fair. I just don't like putting a minus 550 in my lay. Crazier things have happened than Botfalski losing. So no bet here for me, but Botfalski certainly the side. Heading up to the next fight, 155 lightweight. We have Fedor Durek at 8-1. He is minus 170 against Thomas Mudrock coming in at a slim favorite. He is 8-1 as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think Durek should be a bigger favorite here. I don't really get the like. I guess I understand they're not. They're both pretty green. They're both young, but I mean, I think Durek is really good. But I think his only loss is the split to Bogdanovich, who's like an Octagon legend, like really good fighter, really tough to grapple too. And Durek had ton of moments. He's only 21. Like again, like I said, these really young kids are just make a ton of improvements in MMA fight to fight. Like it's one of the sports where experience is almost everything. Like you see it all the time with these vet lessons or these young kids that like really build into their own. You know what I mean? You see in every promotion, UFC even young people coming in, and it's like they're so green. You got to see what they are when they're a finished product. And he's not even close. He's only 21. Really good submissions. Like he's got a ton of submission wins. Nasty rear naked choke setup against Muhammad Issa, which I really like to see on tape. Like he will actively search for the back, which is always good. Like once he gets the back, it seems like it's either the fight or the round. Either he taps you or he holds position. I think he got a takedown against Cha. It's a Russian name, Cha Zamatov, I believe. And he kept taking his back. Like that dude was just really tough. I don't believe he put him away. Oh no, he did at the end of round. Yeah, at the end of round 1. But he was on top for a while, put him in a ton of compromising positions, and he's super defensively sound. Like you see some of these kids kind of rush and lose position, which is definitely not him. And I don't even mind his striking. Like I think his striking is really solid. He strikes really well into takedowns. His defensive grappling is really good. I think Tomas, on the other hand, like is kind of it's a bad matchup for him because I think he's gonna look to grapple. Like he a lot of his weapons is when he's on top and he's throwing good ground and pound. He had a lot of good takedowns against Jacob Demal, DeHall. after dropping him, which he just again was just outclassing him on the mat and on the feet. But I don't know. I think Derek is just a different like animal. I have a hard time seeing him grappling him. I also think he's super defensively sound, so I don't really see where he wins. Like this line really made no sense to me. Yeah. What about you?
Same page. Dirk, one of my favorite plays of the night. One of my favorite like parlay legs of the night. Great value. I was watching a Dirk interview where, as you said, incredible grappling, and I saw an interview where he said he's more comfortable and feels better about his striking than his grappling. I didn't watch enough to see whether that was the case. The fights I watched are very grappling heavy, but if that's the case, which like kind of like sort of hard to believe a little bit, because like, dude, you're the sky's the limit if that's the case. Mudrock, he's a grinder. He's strong as shit, I'll say, but he's grindy pressure guy. Strong. Strong in the clinch, takedowns, ground and pound. Durek, as you mentioned, one loss, no shame, zero shame, split decision. Arguably could have won. Arguably could have won that. Um, Really impressive grappling, as you mentioned, like beat a guy in the grappling who has looked ungrappable prior. So super impressive. He kind of fought that same style Mudrock presents in that Bogdanovich fight, but just a better version of that, and he showed he could handle it. So I think that's like I think it's a dangerous game that game Murdoch's gonna play, as you mentioned. Like getting in close, fighting in the clinch, shooting some takedowns. Like wrong guy to do it against. 100% wrong guy. So Derek money line, probably one of my spoiler. I'm gonna have a two-leg parlay as my parlay of the night here. This is one of the two legs. Really like it. Put it in the books. Derek money line, 100%. Next fight, moving into the co-main event at 170, David Kozma versus Joseph Whitner. Joseph Whitner is 16-5, Kozma 32-15. Whitner coming in at plus 170, Kozma minus 225. What do you think here?
Yeah, so this is pretty sad because if this fight happened a little bit ago, like Cosma's pretty much a better fighter everywhere. He's fought way better competition, way more well rounded. But I mean, the way he's been getting put away, yeah, chin issues, man. The way he's been getting put away all in the first round is pretty disgusting. And he's getting, it's not like TKO, like he's getting hurt, which you don't love to see. So like, you can obviously go into skill set, like he's better everywhere. I think he's a better grappler. I think he's a little bit cleaner on the feet, a little bit more crisp. But again, if you can't take the firepower coming back, it's very hard to beat people in a sport where your objective is to fist fight them. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think the Whitner is any good. Like he lost to that Zach Julza dude who isn't great. Like he can get taken down. But I do think like I was watching some of his fights. I think he was like 3 or 4 KOs on his record, but he does have like he hits hard enough where I think anyone could really put Kuzma down with a shot. It doesn't even have to be the perfect shot. So I don't know. I wouldn't like again, like I said, if his chin wasn't where it was now, like I think this would be an auto play. Like he's just a better fighter, but at chalk, like no way, you got to stay away. So I guess I'd pick Whitner, just like clips him with something, even if he's getting beat up again, like you see it all the time. It's really sad. Like people's chin just goes, and yeah, I think he's this. If he gets put down again, I think he's done. I think he retires, but we'll see. What about
Same for
you?
me here. Same for me.
Yeah,
I mean, we could go into like the skills and techniques here. Skill for skill, technique for technique. Cosma, experience, resume, Cosma. But to break this down simply, that chin cannot be trusted at this point. At least I can't. KO'd in his last four. He's just taken a lot of damage over time. Whitner's been losing a lot too. I don't think he's that great, but like you mentioned, any person who can land a shot with their power hand, whichever hand that is, whichever shot that is, has more than a small chance of getting a knockout. So you know, like you said, it's not a big bet. If you can somehow get like Whitner by knockout, that'd be kind of cool. But I mean, I think Whitner probably sleeps him. I don't think Cosmo's worth your money. This was, as you said, if this was years ago, Cosmo, auto bet the house, pawn off the wife's engagement ring and bet that too and buy her a better one. So that would be what I would say. But yeah, probably not worth it. But we'll see. We'll see if the chin gives out again. Heading into the main event, also at welterweight 170, Ronald Paradeiser, Kayik Brito. Paradeiser at 23-9, Brito 18-6. Paradeiser is coming in at minus 275, Brito plus 200. What do you think?
yeah. So good fight actually. I think this is the best. I know it's the main event, but I think it's probably the best fight on the card in my opinion. I mean, obviously, there's some prelim bangers. Like don't get me wrong, who doesn't love that? But I think both these guys are good, like solid enough. I think Ronald here though should be like is good. I think minus 250 makes sense. Like he has a ton of KOs, a ton of power. Like that step in lead elbow he hit Neto with in his last disgusting knockout. Put him out. I believe he was the lightweight champ at some point, but this fight's at 170 now. He also has 2 wins back, like I was saying before, 2 wins back to back by KO. And yeah, he's just nasty. Like he throws good knees, good elbows, good pace, like solid leg kicks. And I think like that dart in and out style makes it really hard for guys that like just walk in on the center line and try to hit you like Brito will. Um, and yeah, like he's fought good guys like Lone Akita beat him like back in the day. Who and he got finished. That dude's really good. It sucks we didn't get to see him. I don't know what's going on with him. Missing weight kind of ruined everything. But yeah, good fighter. I don't know. I think Ronald's just like better, more well rounded. Like on the feet, like maybe necessarily doesn't have the power edge, but like he's got tons of power of his own. He's got 14 KOs, and his style is like really weird to deal with. The way he moves, like really good footwork, pretty elusive. And another good thing that I liked against Neto was he kept throwing that left kick to keep his right. He knew Neto had a good right hand, so he kept throwing that left kick to the body to keep it there. So it's just something you like to see, like people being mindful of that, not just standing in front of the opponent and striking. But yeah, good fighter. And then Brito, on the other hand, I don't think he's horrible. Even though our boys on rough times lost to Oban Elliott on Contender Series, where he just got grappled. Not a horrible loss, like Oban's solid, even though he's been, I don't know, man. It's just been a tough run for him. But yeah, it could be he can be grappled. I think he's got good like Muay Thai, like good low kicks. He will throw elbows in the clinch. He was also a former 155er. And he knocked out that dude, I forget his first name, but his last name's Lutterbach. You probably remember him. He was like supposed to go to the UFC, right? And it just like never panned out. I don't think he ever fought. He obviously didn't fight in the UFC, but I don't even remember what happened. And then he beat this dude Ribeiro who's 8-8. And he just got on top and just like TKO'd him. But I don't know. I just think his style feeds right into Ronald's, like that like I said, that high guard Muay Thai style. So yeah, I just think Ronald clips him at some point with something. Brito has also been KO'd brutally by, I think he was one that's been head kicked, and like got folded really bad not too long ago. So that's live. But yeah, I think it's a violent fight. I think it stays striking too. If anyone grapples, it's probably Ronald. But yeah, just give me the favorite Ronald. I think he's just a little bit better everywhere. What about you?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
For Brito, I think he relies on these big shots, these big moments, and his feints, like feint, big shot, and then it repeats. And with that Paradeiser like dart in and out style that you're mentioning, I just don't think he gets caught with those feints. He darts in and out, and he has great distance management, but he's not like one of those like distance management like point fighters. Like he's still very aggressive with that distance management style. Good counters. As mentioned, like I don't think he's biting on those feints and getting pulled in, drawn into those big shots. That's just not his style. He's not going to be in a pocket brawl. I think he outpaces here. I would say Brito power advantage. Like dude hits hard, like undeniably when he connects. But I think if Paradeiser makes it out of like round two, I think he's certainly fine. At minus 275, this is my second leg of the parlay here. If it wasn't clear enough already, I would throw him and Derek together. Some small plus money there. I think it's two reliable guys. But yeah, the player is definitely Paradeiser on the money line. I think he probably wins by a late knockout. That is the main event. For a bird's eye view for this card, as mentioned, my play of the week is a two-leg parlay. Derek and the main event Paradeiser. Throw them together, get some plus money. I think that there are a couple underdogs on this card, as mentioned, worth a stab. That is Shorji, Bartonek, Brajan Prisoek, Jan Sarowski, and Joseph Whitner. I was sitting here as you were breaking down that main event, trying to pick my favorite out of those five, or my favorites. Daniel Shorji, I just think the record and the step up here is big for his opponent. Bartonek with that sub threat on the ground against his opponent who's been submitted, both of his losses. And I said I didn't like it earlier, but I think the third out of the five I'm picking is Jan Sarowski. I think, like as you mentioned, that like the gaps in Fodor's game, combined with the generalist skill, I gotta go with that. So those are my plays. Is there anything else you'd like to highlight here?
Yeah, no, so I definitely agree with the parlay, and like I also don't mind Nafuka as a parlay piece. That'd probably be my third favorite option. And I think like Whitner's a good shout, like we just said, the durability issues, but like that wouldn't be my biggest bet. But I think Swarovski too, man. Like I just think the it's a record thing. That's why there's a fade, but it's like a 10-9 guy. It's not like you're fading with like an 8-0 guy. So yeah, I agree.
Now I'm thinking about him, like he just lost to a 1 and 2 and 2 and 2 guy. My two are, God, Shorty and Bart's
Yeah.
Swarovski, I can't do it. I can't do it. Thank you everybody for sticking around this
Yes.
long. We appreciate you guys watching. If you are watching this card, enjoy. If you are betting it, best of luck. And we will see you next time.